Omar al-Bashir, the man who ruled Sudan for 30 years, appeared in prison-issue clothes on Tuesday at the start of a trial over the 1989 coup in which he took power. Giving his profession as former president of the Republic, Bashir seemed in good physical condition as he appeared in a metal courtroom cage wearing white prison-issue clothes and a medical face mask that he lowered him to identify himself.
Omar al-Bashir, the man who ruled Sudan for 30 years, appeared in prison-issue clothes on Tuesday at the start of a trial over the 1989 coup in which he took power. The 76-year-old, who was removed as Sudan's president last year after months of street protests, spoke to confirm his age, religion, marital status and job, which he said was a former president. Bashir also faces separate charges over his alleged role in the repression of protests against his rule. Last December, he was sentenced to 2 years in prison on corruption charges. Bashir is also wanted by the International Criminal Court. There, he faces charges of alleged genocide, war crimes, and crimes against humanity in the Darfur region of Sudan.
Well, to give us a little bit more on this developing story is Sabir Ibrahim, who is the South African representative of the Sudan People's Liberation Movement, a political party in South Sudan. Thanks very much indeed for joining us. Welcome to the program.
Thank you so much for having me, and thank you for the viewer.
All right, so Omar al-Bashir is someone that the SPLM will know very well, having gone to war with him.
Well, we have been fighting him for almost 40 years, more than 40 years.
All right.
Since he was a soldier, then he came and make a military coup. He took power. Then from '89, then we launched him up to he left power. I mean, he pulled out of power in last April.
So how significant is this trial over this coup? Some people might be surprised because he won elections subsequent to that.
Well, basically, he committed a crime, unspeakable crime against the Sudanese people for many years. And he created, come up with a military coup that is in 1987, 89, and arrest and suspend the political parties and all that thing, and he established a one-party system. So he is already behind bar for corruption and could be faced. There's plenty. If he convicted crime, if he convicted in this military coup, he may face a death penalty because he removes the democratic elected governments from power.
Was he never popular, or did he enjoy some popularity for a time?
I've never been popular. He's a soldier. How can be popular? He's a soldier. He came from nowhere by the Trabi, you know, the Trabis and the Islamists that brought him to power. He have got nothing to do with politics. He's a soldier. He came and executed the job.
How do you think he was able to stay in power for so long?
This is an ideological thing, you know, because he been supported by the Islamist Muslim brothers. So it's not a pure soldiers. You see, it's mixed between ministers and civilians and the soldiers. And the civilian that has an ideologics, Islamic, political Islam ideology, which be been supported by internationals from Osama bin Laden's, all the terrorism. You know, Sudan today under the sanction. Why under sanction? Because it was the hubs of the whole terrorism internationally. And so to speak now, he's in the deck. He's in the deck with 10 military personnel and 6 civilians and some ministers and governors that are facing the trial, committed coup trials.
The people of South Sudan, would they be seeking some justice as well for things that he did to your people?
Well, I think, you see, the issue of South Sudan Bashir, he commit crime even before establishing the ICC. You see, the genocide happened in South Sudan before the establishment of the court, international courts. That is many years back. So now, so to speak, our concern is not even for this trial of coup. We are the opposition, our main concern, and are the victims. Our main concerns that Bashir should be tried in ICC for the crime against the humanity that he committed in Darfur. More than 300,000 people have been killed for 3 months. And he convinced that he said, yeah, I killed those people. He convinced it. So the issue for us, I personally, I believe that this coup trials is just buying times, because now he's 76 years old, and because when change happens in Sudan, the current government should handle Bashir and the whole 5 of them to be taken to ICC. Already one out of the five, he already surrendered himself to the ICC. Why they didn't surrender? Why they didn't arrest those four Bashir and the others to took them to ICC? But the Prime Minister day before yesterday, the Prime Minister is say that he is ready. His government is ready to cooperate with ICC. That is what he said.
Do you think that there should be more people in the dock with Mr. Bashir? Because it seems hard to believe that only he and 10 others staged the coup and were able to stay in power. Just them. They must have had other collaborators.
No, for sure. There is many collaborators with him, but you see that the trial should start somewhere. You have to try the leadership, then the leadership, they brought all the rest. You got what I'm saying? So this 10 plus 4, that means 14, and plus a couple of ministers and some governors, say plus minus 20 something. It's not bad, but for me, it's just waste of time. I think Bashir should be first the trial. The committee is in Darfur. That's a genocide trial.
What other crimes do you think that President Omar al-Bashir committed during his presidency over time?
Crimes and genocide charge related to ISIS and what happened, the conflict in Darfur. That is, everybody knows about it. He's wanted, so to speak now, he's wanted by ICC.
Why do you think that there was a tide change that saw these protests go to the streets and eventually see him ousted from power? What happened? What do you think was the trigger?
You see, the Sudanese, part of the Sudanese culture that, they always again is a dictator. This is not the first time to be overthrown the dictators in Sudan. You see, previously we saw almost for the last 40 years we saw Abut in 60s, we saw Nimeri in 80s, and now Bashir is in 2000. So the Sudanese people is a democratic people, love civilian government. They have a sort of problem with the military government, because most of the military government is the most corrupted governments. And out of our independence for 60 years, you could say that 45 or 50 years out of 60 years is ruled by the military.
But the military's influence is still there this time. Is this something that will disappear in time, or does one accept that Sudan is just one of those countries where the military will always have a say?
You see, that's why, in our manifesto and we are in our peace negotiation, we say we need to reform. The military should be reformed. Because nowadays, so to speak, the military, they are in the market. They are a business. They have companies. They have structures. They have connection in terms of business. They are not military per se. Don't see that uniform. They are a business people. Now, more than 200, 500 companies is registered in the name of the militaries. So they're already in the market. So we say, guys, military should be protecting the countries according to the mandate of the militaries. Militaries have got nothing to do with the business. So we need to reform the military. We need to reform the whole security sectors in order for us to be in safe side from any military coups. And nowadays, so to speak, many people, they are speculating that, it might happen military coup any time in Sudan. Because the military, so to speak, now are powerful in terms of financial materials, powerful in terms of business. So we need to pull the militaries out of the business. That's why they spoil the civilian and the democratic system in Sudan.
So one of the developments that you spoke about just now was the signing of this peace deal with 5 major groupings of rebels with Khartoum, and this was signed in Juba. And I just wonder, are you optimistic that this signing will bring some level of peace? The one concern we have about Sudan is things have been signed before, but they've been reneged on. Do you think that this might bring some sustainable peace?
Absolutely not, because the whole negotiations, we are not part of it, and the whole negotiation, they failed to address the causes of the war. We have been in war for 50 years. And we say that negotiation avoid discussing the issue and raising the issue of why we are fighting. It is a futile. So I'm not optimistic that this peace, this so-called peace, can bring anything. And apart from that, those 5 or 4 rebels, they don't have military in the grounds. They don't have any weight in the grounds. Those the military who have got weight in the grounds, they are not part of the peace negotiations. So what are you expecting?
All right, so it's more symbolic than actual substance.
Absolutely.
How has the relationship between Juba and Khartoum been since Omar al-Bashir has been ousted?
No, I think it's a perfect. It's most good relation happens between Juba and Sudan after Bashir being removed from power.
All right, so
a very good relation, believe so good, because now Juba is hosting the whole Sudanese to bring peace. The Juba that's who have been part of Sudan before, now hosting the whole Sudanese to find solution to the conflicts.
All right, so generally both sides of the border quite happy that Omar al-Bashir is facing justice.
Absolutely. Bashir is a problem. And I'm not saying Bashir alone. The system who brought Bashir in power have to be clear. That is what we call it a political Islam. He came and divided Sudan differently, defined Sudan for zone of being and zone of non-being, that because of religions and because of race.
All right, Mr. Ibrahim, we're going to have to leave it there. Thank you so much indeed for joining us. And I'm sure we'll be chatting to you again in the near future as this case unfolds, and also as we keep an eye on those peace deals that were signed. Thank you so much indeed for your insights.